Home is where connections are made, memories are formed, and ideas are born. And no one knows home better than NFM. Thanks for tuning in to I Am Home, the podcast that goes deeper than trends and dives into what it means to make your house a home.
Hello, you're listening to I Am Home, the Home Life Best Life podcast. I'm Tyler Weiskup. Unfortunately, we don't have Hillary today, but I am joined by my co-host, the life of our podcast Halloween party. It's Becca Sudbeck.
Hi, Tyler.
Hi, Becca. And this month, our theme is That's Scary. Today's topic is certainly a nerve-wracking one because we're talking hosting a creep-tastic Halloween party, from brainstorming to setting up and everything else. But before we get to that, let me tell you why we're even doing this podcast. And that's because NFM is more than just your everything home store. We're in the business of improving lifestyles because your home life should be your best life. You can learn more at nfm.com. And I'm so excited to introduce a guest here to kind of walk us through the idea of hosting your Halloween party. She is going to be the perfect person for this. We're so excited to have her. It's Megan Fennell Tomlinson. Hi.
Hello, how are you?
I'm floored that you're here. This has been long overdue, Megan.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. You are our marketing manager. This is like a recent thing for you. It's been just a few months now at this point?
Yes, it's about almost 3 months.
Yeah. Over our Omaha and Des Moines location. So you've got like two of those. And you've been with NFM going on 9 years. You've worked in a bunch of different places, from flooring to building, merchandising. And this is all in our Des Moines location.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think what I really like about you, Megan, beyond the idea, you told us that you're outdoorsy, you like bare feet.
Yes.
That's where it's at. I think getting in touch
Absolutely.
with nature and just kind of feeling the earth. I think that it really connects with what I know about you, with this idea of just being like out there and enjoying life and like really taking things by the reins and like having a good time. That just feels like you, as far as I know you. And
Well, I appreciate that.
I enjoy this time to get to know you a little bit better. Before we jumped on the mic, you were talking about hosting Halloween parties, and it's really kind of a big affair for you and your home.
It is.
That right?
Yes. It's been for a long time.
Yeah. When did that start?
So, I mean, actually, it started when I was little. So I didn't know it at the time, obviously. But my mother and my godmother, they used to throw parties all the time, which, of course, being 5, 6, 7 years old, I was just like, cool, people are coming over, right? But no, it actually like instilled something in me. And as I got older and as I was like, what's my first house going to look like? What kind of neighborhood am I going to live in? I started creating the idea of what I wanted around like the events my mom hosted, which is kind of crazy, but it took several years to finally find that neighborhood to be like, all right, we're going to dig our roots down and we're going to be the house. So it's just been really exciting and really inspirational that I can kind of touch point back on my, my childhood and bring it to fruition in real life. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah. What does the house mean to you? Like I think people have an idea, but I'd love you to kind of expand on that.
Yeah. So the house, so I don't know when you guys were kids, were like after school or during the summer, was there always the house?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Like there was always the house where like your mom would come home and there's 20 kids eating all the snacks and drinking all the pop. Well, that was my house. We did live right across the street from my school. So, I mean, that was partial to it. Yeah. But we were always at house and my mom never complained, never, threw a fit. And my partner too was the same way, even though she's from a small town. Same thing. She was the house.
Yeah.
So, when we're like, we want to be the house that has, if our garage door is open, people know they can come in, grab a drink, grab a snack, feel at home, bring your kids over, go swimming. Like it's just a very inviting, welcoming space. And we live on a corner lot. And so it makes it even better.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, this is just tracking with everything that I know about you. And I think it, again, makes you the perfect person to kind of walk through this.
Yes. Okay.
So I'm so excited to get into the topic. Let's start with the idea of like brainstorming a theme. Is that something that you typically do when you're planning a Halloween party, or you?
No.
No? Okay.
No, like, I mean, Halloween is Halloween. It says it's the theme, it's in itself, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny. So I, as an adult now, have the luxury of Pinterest and, Instagram and all these fun things, where my mom, like, and my godmother, they didn't have that. They had to like get creative. And so I'm like, before Pinterest, because I did live in that time, it was creativity out of the mind. And, so some of that still kind of pulls, and it's like, okay, well, Halloween is Halloween. People are going to dress up and do what they want to do. So let's just enhance that experience, right? What can we do that's different from any other house? What's unique? Also with a tradition though, right? Because you always want to have that tradition of, okay, this is the house that has the full-size candy bars. This is the one that has adult beverages, like all that thing. So having the tradition, but also the what's new, right?
Yeah. Well, talk to me about that. Like, because the people think about the standard, like, I'm going to put some skeletons on the wall, or
Right.
like I got a little graveyard in the
Yeah.
in the yard. The elevation piece, though, I
Mhm.
think people have been throwing Halloween parties for millennia, right?
Yes.
And they want to get to that like next level.
Right.
So when you're trying to crack that nut of like trying to get some creative ideas that maybe some folks haven't seen, are you thinking about things like the full-size candy bar and making that your bit? Or
No,
are
that's
you
already
like,
happened.
okay,
Like,
so
that's already a thing.
where are you at then with this?
So our idea was, we still had a lot of our friends in condos and townhomes and, places that weren't really trick-or-treat friendly.
Yeah.
So we're like, hey, let's invite them over. Let's have some chili. Right. I mean, this was like the beginning stages. Let's have some chili. Let's throw a movie on in the garage, and let's just kind of have a little mingling party, get together. Well, that evolved into having a fire pit, having an actual movie scene going where kids can sit and watch, having the adult beverage line. Now we're going to have two, because obviously we have to have like beer and wine. I mean, it just has evolved. Instead of having one candy basket, we have 11 candy baskets, right? Because all the people who come over, we say, hey, if you're going to come over, make sure you bring a bag of candy.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. So, and then we also, in our neighborhood, we have what's called an allergenic line. And so we have toys out for kids who can't really have candy. And so, last year we did pie pumpkins in our yard. So they got candy, they got toys, and then they got a pumpkin. So it's a really cool thing.
This is to me, this is like starting with the guest list, right? You're starting with
Yes.
like the people that are going to be there, or the people that I want to
Yes.
attract to the party. Would you say that's fair?
100%. So with that, it's kind of like, it does start with the invitation, and really it's like,
You're sending out like physical invitations?
no, I mean, we have technology now. And so
I didn't.
That's not necessary.
I mean, I kind of use it. So no, it's simple. Invitation, invite, Facebook invite, whatever.
Sure,
and
but
it's,
what you're listing, you mean
what
you're listing on the invitation
Oh,
is connecting
yes.
back to the idea of what you're
Yes.
trying to accomplish.
Oh, I'm like, what? Yes. I'm like, yes, absolutely. And it's just very open. Hey, come, bring your kids, bring some chili. It's now like a chili cook-off, so everyone brings their
That's
chili
fun. Yeah.
and bring a bag of candy. And it's really, to me, like having a party, you have to have room, you have to have space to have, you have to have enough space for people to do kind of what they want, so they can feel welcome within the space, if that makes sense. So, I mean, yes, sometimes having parties and structure is great, but trick-or-treating, I mean, go have some fun with your kids, come back, have some chili, go out again, and then come back and do, the pumpkins or whatever. So it's really just creating that environment where people feel welcome and at home.
Mhm.
Because there's so many times people are like, come in, make yourself at home. And I'm like, I'm taking my shoes off. I'm telling my kids not to touch the walls. Like, it's that's not the vibe that I want to give off.
That's not the house.
No,
You
that's
don't go-
definitely not the
that's
house.
not the house that you're going to.
Yeah,
So,
my kids are not welcome at those houses.
well, talk to me about like the planning phase then, because you listed us like several things that you've
Sure.
got going on. Are you doing like pulling together a list? Are you you mentioned the Pinterest boards exist now today?
Yes.
For the decor, the food, the activities, like how are you organizing all of this, brainstorming all this, like having the candy baskets? I know some of it has evolved, but
Sure.
talk to me a little bit about like getting it all organized in your head in the brainstorming phase.
Yeah. So, I mean, it just starts with kind of the idea of, okay, what do we want to keep on doing as a tradition,
Mhm.
right? So it's obviously those things you kind of list out first. Okay, I want to continue the adult beverage line. Okay, I also want to continue like the allergenic toys for the children. Like, so setting those expectations out first kind of gives you a base, and then building off of that of the what's new, right? What's the fun piece or element that you want to bring into the party? Is it a dance party? I'm going to have a dance party this year. I mean, I've been talking about a dance party even at NFM for almost a year now. And I'm like, by God, one of us are going to have a dance party. But, just bringing in elements like just what's new versus what you want to continue to do. Like, we're still going to have food. We'll always continue to do some of those things. But yeah, just having a baseline of, all right, these are the things that I want to continue to do. These are the things that I want my neighbors to be like, oh yeah, you're the house that has,
They expect that.
yes, the expectation. And then whatever comes after that is the wow factor. Oh my gosh, they did this. They had 20 blow-ups, in their yard, or they had confetti coming out of the spigots. I don't know, something crazy, but
Really? You turn on the sprinklers and confetti is coming out?
maybe.
That's
maybe
pretty incredible.
one day.
Yeah.
But
It could be an idea. We'll add it to the list.
could be an idea.
Yeah.
I actually really wanted to do an archway this year on my sidewalk to our garage, but I'm running out of time. So
Halloween is almost here.
it's almost here.
Yeah.
And we always like know what we're doing for costumes a year in advance.
You don't know, or you do?
No, we do.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
We know right after that Halloween what we're doing the next Halloween.
Wow.
It's insane, I know.
Wow. I mean, I think the natural question then is, what is the costume?
This year, I am going to be Cruella. My partner is going to be Estella, and then the kids are going to be the dogs.
How cute.
I know.
Perfect.
I know.
No
So we
notes.
wanted to do it last year, but the youngest was adamant about being Ariel. So I was Flounder and my wife was Sebastian. So pictures to come.
You have to share this. Yes,
I will.
100%. Okay, so we've talked a little brainstorming. When it comes to setting up the party, how far in advance are you like starting to get decor and decorations out? Are you doing like everything day of? Or are you like working at it a little
It has
bit?
to be day of.
Really?
Yeah, because one, you never know the weather, right? And two, normally in Iowa, we have it on a different day than Halloween. And so it's like the weekend before. And sometimes, most of the time, I'm working an event at NFM. And so I'm rushing home to get this thing going, right? So it's chaos, and it's controlled chaos, and everyone knows what their job duty is that needs to get done. And yeah, we have about 2 hours to get it set and going.
Oh my gosh. So how does everyone know what they're supposed to be doing?
I tell them. I tell them their job duties.
Yeah.
And they can't go away from that until they're complete.
Yeah. Is there like a
a good
meeting that's
strategy.
happening like when you rush home, you're there like 2 hours before, like gathering everyone
Mhm.
together? Is that how that typically works?
Yes.
Or okay.
It's like a go team. Come on, let's huddle up. We're going to sweat for 2 hours, and then we're going to clean ourselves up and get into our costumes.
It's fantastic.
It's fun though.
Yeah.
It's very fun.
Yeah. Is there like, do you like, you can like at least clean the house before like you do the rush of like throwing all of the decorations out, or is that happening in the 2 hours too?
Like the traditional Halloween decorations, like that, what go in the house, yes, because normally everything's outside, right?
Yeah,
So I mean, we can't really do that. Like I do a lot of chalk art, like all the lines are done with chalk, like enter here, exit here. So all of that's done day of. We draw a line on the concrete to say kids don't pass this line for the fire, like just to make sure we're safe.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of it really, I mean, the interior decorations, not a lot of people see. That's just, for people who come over before. But yeah, I'm telling you, a lot of it is day of.
You're localizing most of the party activities in the
Yes.
garage itself, and
Yes.
that's kind of like your setup that everyone is going
Yes.
to. And it started with, like you said, that chili first thing,
Yeah.
and now it just has grown. And so this if we're going to learn a lesson from this, is a little bit of like the organic approach to hosting your best Halloween party. Maybe a good approach for listeners as well.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, knowing what you're wanting to accomplish, having the idea, but then also setting realistic expectations. So I have a big grandioso idea in my head, but I'm like, okay, I have 2 hours. What can I accomplish in the 2 hours? And I normally do push myself to get a lot of it done, but yeah, just having a plan in place and knowing what you want to execute. And at the end of the day, nobody knows what was missing but you.
That's true. That's good
So yeah. So everyone's going to think it's great. And if you think something's missing, don't worry about it because nobody knows.
Great
So,
advice. Great advice. So if you are decorating this space, you have like, you'd mentioned like trying to do an arch and like having these like focal points as a part
Yes.
of that. How do you like maybe plan for that in your head and then like actually actuate? Is that the right term? Make it happen during the
Activate
day.
it?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, Pinterest, again, big inspiration. So I'm like, okay, what is an easy to do setup thing that I can, that I can do with less than 15 minutes.
That's
So
fantastic.
I didn't want to spend more than 15 minutes on an area that I can't accomplish. So last year we had some witches that need to be set up. And I was like, oh my gosh, these things need stands and I don't have stands. So I grabbed a bale of hay and I stuck them in some hay, I'm like, okay, that turned out great. But I didn't spend a lot of time or thought into it. It's just like, okay, how am I going to pivot? Like pivoting is very key when you're trying to put on events. But yeah, just not spending a lot of time on one thing, not detail oriented can go so far. But at the end of the day, it's going to be great. So,
well, I mean, how long you're actually having this party versus the amount of time and energy that you're putting into it. I think some people have the balance wrong.
Yes,
probably,
for sure. Yeah.
Right?
I mean, we have to remember this is a 3-hour gig, right? And you don't want to spend days and weeks. I mean, maybe you can put it in your head and have inspiration, but actually execution, it should only be a couple hours of your day because you want to enjoy it too. You don't want to be stressed as a person, right? Because then everyone at the party can feel that, and then it's just not fun. So that's why creating the space, creating the environment where people can relax and do what they want to do and feel free in the moment. Like that's really what it's about.
Yeah. Well, let's get to that, like the enjoying element of the party. So you've like you figured out what you wanted to do in this 2 hours. You accomplished it. You squeezed into the costumes. You're Sebastian or
I was
Flounder.
Yes.
You're Flounder this year. So how important is it for the host to kind of like help set that tone, like you had mentioned, for when guests arrive, and maybe what are some tips or suggestions that you have to help kind of guests feel welcome?
Yes,
like
it's a big key.
In the energy that you are hoping for them to be in.
Yeah, it's a big key moment. You don't want to continue to be setting up as people are arriving because they're kind of like in that awkward, should I be doing something? What do I do with my hands, right? And you don't want that for your guests. You want to be set, ready to go, being just willing to welcome them and then unload their hands. Let me take that from you. Let's put it over here. Grab yourself a drink. Let's get ready to go. That's setting the tone and the mood for that party to kind of kickstart. Yeah. I mean, let's put that in the kitchen, or, if you're still running around frantically, your guests are going to feel that, and it automatically sets that tone no matter how hard you try to get out of it. So just being ready and being welcoming with a smile, with a drink in their hand, whatever it needs to take. But yeah, just kind of just letting it all go. Here I am. It's 6:00. I'm ready to go. Like whether I'm not ready to go, I'm going to be ready to go.
Yeah.
So,
or we've pivoted to being ready.
Yes.
At this point, like the arch didn't happen, but now we're ready.
Yes.
So, okay. I think that's a super smart play. I think I've certainly been guilty of being like rushing while a guest is there. To be fair, they come early and I'm like, why are you here?
Like you
do you
are
experience that
2
too?
minutes
Or?
no.
I
Yes,
think you always have to plan. People are going to show up a little early.
always.
Like if you say 6 o'clock, you better be ready by 5:45.
Exactly. And I had to learn the hard way. I mean, I was that frantic, sweaty person that was like, everything's not ready. And people were like, I think we should come back. Like,
And you
I've
kind
been
of
that
want to tell
person.
them yes, but you
Right.
actually just say no
Yes.
because like you
You're
have to be
fine.
polite.
yeah, like you're fine. And as
No,
I'm
you're-
like, wiping on my sweat, you're fine.
I'm just gonna be gone for 15 minutes.
Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, I mean, my sister is notorious for being early. So I'm like, and she's kind of the one that I'm like, I want to impress the most, which is just a weird thing that I have.
Sisters.
Yeah, it's a sister thing.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I have to be ready by the time she gets here, or it's not going to be good.
Yeah. I think the 15-minute rule is smart.
Yeah.
That's probably good standard practice. Everything's set ready. And now you can kind of have that little moment to yourself to collect and be in the right mindset
Yes.
of the welcoming like you were talking
Or
about. Right?
whatever costume you're wearing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's talk about like keeping the momentum of the party going. So you welcomed, and now like you want this whole evening to kind of have the energy that you've set off with.
Mhm.
How do you go about doing something like that?
So music is a big thing,
Mhm.
right? I mean, music sets a lot of tone for people. We always have a playlist, and we use our big JBL speaker we got from NFM, which we absolutely love.
You've got like a tower one, or
Oh yeah,
like-
we have a JBL.
It's like one of the party speakers.
So not the big one, okay, but the 310.
Yeah,
We got the 310,
which is still
and
big.
it's still big and it's still loud.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love it so much, and we play that thing all the time. But especially during Halloween, we have a Halloween set list, and I make sure that thing's on before, like an hour before,
Nice,
right?
yeah.
So people, even
Set
if
in the
they're-
mood.
yes,
People
even if
walking by.
walking by,
Yeah.
like driving by with their windows down, I don't care. I want everybody to hear it. So that kind of sets the mood for the perimeter, I guess you would say. And then as people, walk up with their kids, because they're trying to like scatter their kids out of the car, like get out of the car, let's get your costumes, let's get all your bags and stuff. It just kind of calms the mood and sets it like, all right, we're here to have a good time.
Music, I think, is one of the best ways to
Yes.
just set the right energy. When, like you said, you probably have periods where, like, okay, I know there's going to be a little bit of like, this is eating time. Maybe
Yeah.
the set list gets a little quieter. And then, like, after eating time, we're going to amp it up. And you probably have that
Yes.
timed out a little bit with the way that you've got it set up.
Yeah. And actually it comes in waves. Like we don't have like, okay, this is eating time, because it's chilly, right? I mean,
Sure, sure.
if
Help
some-
yourself when
Right.
you're ready.
one person will have one bowl and somebody might have 5 bowls. Like it's chilly. So, but yeah, we have a time frame to go trick-or-treating. My family in particular, we're like, okay, we're taking the first hour to go trick-or-treating. You guys got the fort, and then we'll be back to take over. And then the next group can go out. Like, so we kind of have a rotation.
Cool.
So, and that's obviously too, because we don't want to leave adult beverages unattended, right?
No,
No,
that's
we don't.
That's good practice.
So, but my sister does a good job too of like manning the station, and but yeah, it's just like it's just a complete rotation of this family goes, all right, now we're going out. Okay, this kid wants to go again. All right, you take them. Like, so it's kind of like a big communal parenting corralling of kids.
Yeah. Well, I think sounds like you've got a good system set up. I'm curious if you have a good system for like the wind down when the party is getting towards the end of the evening. Do you have like a set? Okay, guys, it's 10:30. Everyone's gone, and they all leave. Or like, how do you know when the party's
Right.
over?
No, I mean, it's such a good question, but I am going to play to the weather because it's usually pretty chilly out, in October for Halloween. And so the weather does play in my favor for sure. And so kids are like, I'm freezing, so they're like, all right, come on, it's time to go. So I really don't have to kick too many people out. Like, okay, kids got to go to bed.
So this helps by having their party in the garage.
Yes, that's why everybody doesn't get to come inside right now. You're getting the flow of it. No, yeah, that's why we keep it outside, just because it is an outdoor event. We want everybody to mingle outside, but yeah, the weather does play to our favor in it.
Okay. Well, that makes it simple.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, speaking of wind downs, I think we're at the end of our time. We went so fast.
We did.
We covered so much ground, though. I think we learned a lot just from your specific experience of like starting with like one like simple idea and having it grow from there. I think it
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense for a lot of people who are looking to get into like making the most out of their Halloween
For
parties. So
sure.
thanks for being here, Megan.
Thank you. Thank you
This
guys.
is so fantastic. I also want to thank my co-host Becca, our co-producers Scott and Ann, and finally I want to thank you listeners for liking and subscribing and doing like all of those things wherever you listen. Don't forget to go to nfm.com/podcast where you can find out more about us as a podcast as well as ask us questions. We're giving out free advice there, and I think that about wraps it up for us. So thanks again, Megan, and thank you for listening. And remember, home is what you make it.
Thanks for joining us today for I Am Home with Tyler Weisskopf, Hillary Woltemath, and Becca Sudbeck. No one knows home quite like NFM. So if you'd like more information on home design at NFM, please check out nfm.com and leave us a review on the podcast platform of your choice.